Sasha excitedly hugs Heiss, exclaiming that she has received the Sword Master's blessing. He congratulates her warmly, and she tells him that now it's his turn. He confidently declares that he's bound to score a fabulous blessing and can't wait to embark on epic adventures with her. Her eyes gleam with excitement, seeing their dream getting closer with each step. As he basks in the excitement, his mind wanders back to the day he stood before his parents' graves, where he tearfully vowed to make the best team with her and help many people, so that no one would suffer like they did. His master's voice interrupts his thoughts, reminding him it is his turn. In this world, blessings are special powers God grants, and he is eager to discover his own. When people turn 12, they undergo baptism and receive their unique blessing. One must read the Tome of Blessings to understand what each blessing does. Knowing what their blessing is allows people to use it effectively. With anticipation building up, he goes to the skill encyclopedia to discover his blessing. As he opens the book, he's astonished and calls out to his instructor, Dice Stan, asking what's happening. He stares at the book, puzzled, and wonders what the term Yupon signifies. His teacher is equally perplexed by his confusion and confesses that even he is unsure of its meaning. The teacher explains that since they can't decipher his blessing, he won't be able to harness its power. This revelation leaves them both stunned. 2 years later, he's trekking behind 5 team members, burdened by a heavy backpack. Sacred Vice leader Reynold turns to him and inquires if he's managing right. He reassures him that he's fine and can continue on. Their leader, Sasha, arrives and announces that they'll take a brief respite before setting out again in 30 minutes. He tells her he's doing okay. Stasha responds with a touch of sarcasm, asking if he plans to collapse under the weight and who will cover for him if he can't even manage their luggage. She points out they can't fight properly if burdened by the bags. Pietazzala chimes in with a playful jab, mocking him for talking big despite not even receiving his blessing yet. Robin, noticing the struggle, offers to help carry some of the load and checks on Sasha, asking if everything is fine. She replies that this mission is critical for Team Sacred's rank advancement. As their archer, they can't afford to make things harder for him. With a determined smile, Heiss assures them he's got it under control. As he sets down his luggage, he reflects on the past 2 years since he received his blessing. He's formed a team with Sasha, and they've grown stronger together. He overhears a teammate mentioning that he can't use his abilities, and another member comments on his kindness. He thinks to himself that Team Sacred is currently ranked B, while Sasha's individual rank is A. With a somber expression, he ponders how he's still unable to use his blessing, stuck carrying luggage instead. Then one of his teammates gives him a reassuring pat on the shoulder, saying that he should not let it get to him and should just take a break. He approaches Sasha, who asks Reynold how Heiss is holding up. He admits he's feeling pretty drained. With a determined tone, he reassures her, saying they'll get through this just fine. He asks her about her decision. She replies firmly that she has. A while later, they arrive at the lair of the A-rank Queen Cobra, and their mission is to subdue it. Sasha begins to issue instructions to the team, explaining that their plan is straightforward. She states that she will go in first and confront the Queen Cobra head-on. She assigns 2 team members to provide backup support. One will guard their rear, and the other will stay in the back, utilizing her healing abilities. Heiss asks her what his role will be, and she responds with a chilly tone, stating that he will wait outside her signal. She concludes that they will proceed as planned and asks Tycoon to activate support magic. Certain blessings grant individuals the power to harness magical energy, enabling them to wield magic. Tycoon's blessing, Sage, allows him to use all forms of magic except healing. His expertise lies in support magic. Suddenly, Queen Cobra materializes, and she positions herself in front of it, sword at the ready. He gazes at her, thinking that no matter how many times he sees her in action, it's always a breathtaking sight. Sasha's blessing, Sword Master, grants her exceptional swordsmanship and the ability to grow stronger while wielding a sword. Heiss notes her greatest asset is channeling magical power at will, enhancing both her sword and shield. With a fierce determination, she confronts the Queen Cobra, declaring that it will have to die there. It is one of the 16 master blessings that are currently recognized. At that instant, the Cobra demolishes the shield that their shield master had constructed. Pietazzala bursts out laughing and ridicules Reynold, pointing out that he is supposed to be their protector. Yet he allowed the enemy to get perilously close. Just then, the Queen Cobra lures above Heiss, but Sasha rapidly intervenes, attacking the Cobra and ripping it to shreds. He gazes at her with appreciation, expressing his gratitude for saving his life. However, she berates him angrily, ordering him to cease causing problems for them. She remains stationary for a moment, then turns and walks away, leaving him standing there. Reynold notices human remains, and Tycoon suggests they transport as many as possible back to the guild. Team members pose a question about additional materials, and she directs them to abandon the search, stating that only the Queen Cobra core is required as proof of conquest. Meanwhile, Heist is gathering human skulls in a sack when he unexpectedly notices a mysterious tom. As he picks it up, he ponders what it might be. Sasha approaches him, urging him to cease his distraction and initiate the packing process. He responds with a smile and discreetly conceals the book, avoiding detection by the others. Upon returning to his quarters, he opens the book and examines the illustrations and text, wondering to himself what these enigmatic symbols represent. The air of mystery surrounding the book reminds him of the occasion when he received his blessing. A notion strikes him that he may need to attempt to decipher the book's secrets gradually. Perhaps it will serve as the catalyst he requires to finally harness his blessing. Just then, his comrades arrive at his quarters, and he swiftly closes the book. Their leader gazes at him and declares that he should depart from the team. He is taken aback, inquiring about their shared aspiration and whether she has forgotten about it. Sasha responds that she has not forgotten, that their team is on the cusp of being elevated to a ranked team. When that occurs, she believes he will only hinder the progress of the rest of the team. She reveals her intention to strive for excellence and become the premier team. She hands him a pouch of gold coins, stating that it is for his journey home. Reynolds approaches him, offers an apology, and remarks with a smirk that they will endeavor to make their team's reputation renowned to the extent that it will even reach his hometown. His eyes widen with sorrow as he asks if there is no place for him within the team. He is informed that there is not. He responds, saying he supposes Reynolds cannot wait to bid him farewell. Just then, Robin intervenes, stating that she anticipated this outcome and is opposed to Heist's departure. She reminds the team that his blessing is also a master's blessing, and they may yet discover what he is a master of someday. Upon hearing this, Reynolds inquires when that day will arrive, pointing out that their future battles will be more arduous than ever. She reacts by yelling at him, asking what's wrong with him, and noting that this isn't his typical demeanor. Ignoring her outbursts, Reynolds tells him that he can no longer remain with the team and can't continue to be a liability. Looking him straight in the eye, Reynolds formally expels him from the team. Hearing this, Heist gathers his belongings, including the mysterious book, and heads towards the exit. Tycoon approaches him, holding out a sack of coins as a parting gift. Initially, Heist declines, but as they persist, he kicks the sack away in anger, shouting that he doesn't need their charity. With a mix of indignation and sorrow, he declares loudly that he will leave, but he refuses to give up, unlike Sasha, who abandons the weak to climb the ranks. Her eyes widen in response to his words, and he storms out of the room. As he departs, Reynolds apologizes to her for putting her in a difficult position. She reassures him not to worry, but he presses her, asking if she's certain this is the path she wants to take. She insists that it's fine, even if he ends up resenting her, as she couldn't bear the thought of him perishing. 2 months later, Heist walks through the bustling streets, a bucket slung over his back, and reflects on his accomplishments, having defeated 20 goblins that day. As he strolls, he further reflects that his current progress is his best yet, but he still needs to continue improving. People recognize him and begin to taunt him, saying he used to be a renowned adventurer, but is now a humble herb collector. They ridicule him, and he becomes the subject of their mockery. Just as he's about to depart, Sasha and her team arrive. Surprised by his presence, she informs him that white clover flowers, essential for healing potions, are reportedly blooming in the wetlands. After wandering away, Heist contemplates the marshes and those precious white clover blooms. He muses on their rarity and potential financial worth, wondering if his companions have his best interests at heart. Perhaps they do, but he's not counting on it. He resolves to explore the wetlands further tomorrow. The next day he arrives at the wetlands and is astonished by the sight of the white clover flowers. He begins to gather them, thinking that although they're no longer teammates, he should at least express his gratitude, hoping that their shared dream might still come true someday. As he glances around, he notices an ominous darkness descending. Looking up, he's shocked to see a massive dragon looming above. The dragon advances towards him, and he thinks to himself that he must escape immediately. However, the dragon assaults him, and as a result, his eyes are severely injured, causing him to collapse to the ground. He seeks refuge behind a large boulder and wonders if this is the dragon's bathing grounds. As he bleeds profusely, he ponders why she directed him to this location. He recalls the mocking words of the onlookers, which leads him to believe that she and her team no longer valued him. With his wounded body, he questions whether he was merely an impediment to her success. This realization sparks determination within him, and he affirms to himself that he refuses to perish. Repeating this mantra, he musters the courage to carry on. As he opens the mysterious book, a brilliant light emanates, and he flips through its pages. On one page, he discovers an illustration of a peculiar weapon. He extends his hand towards it, sensing an inexplicable connection. To his astonishment, the weapon materializes in his hand. Despite never having seen a weapon like this before, he instinctively knows how to wield it. He simply needs to pull the trigger to unleash a devastating explosion. As the dragon prepares to attack, he readies himself, intent on killing the beast. With a deep breath, he pulls the trigger, and the bullet detonates within the dragon's body, tearing it apart. At this moment, he comprehends that he is a weapon master, and this is his blessing. The weapon, he realizes, is not from this world. He erupts into a fit of laughter and declares that she has betrayed him, and he will never forgive this treachery. Meanwhile, she and her team stand before the guild master, who extends his felicitations to them on attaining a rank status. It asks about him, inquiring what has become of him. She responds by asking why he is inquiring about Heiss. The guild master, Geiss, explains that there have been foul rumors circulating about him lately. She expresses apprehension, asking what kind of rumors are circulating. The guild master elaborates, stating that people have been ridiculing Heiss for refusing to abandon his ambitions as an adventurer. Furthermore, rumors suggest that they had attempted to sabotage him. Sasha responds defensively, asking if he genuinely believes they would engage in such behavior. The guildmaster takes a sip and dismisses the notion, saying it's merely a rumor, of course. He continues, stating that as they gain more recognition, they will inevitably attract resentment from individuals like him, a former teammate. However, he assures them that he knows they are not the type of people to engage in such behavior. He looks at her and mentions that he has expressed his resolve to fulfill his childhood aspiration. He also reveals that Heiss had been accumulating wealth for this purpose. She replies that she had actually informed him about an excellent location to gather rare herbs. Geiss inquires about the location, and she responds that it's near the desert country at a small wetland. Upon hearing this, the guildmaster becomes alarmed and asks if she is serious. He places his hand on his head and warns her that the location she mentioned is the lair of an SS plus rank monster, the Black Ancient Dragon's bathing grounds. A young woman hurries towards them, announcing that a critical situation has arisen and urging them to proceed to the lower levels at once. Geiss requests that she and her team accompany him as well. As they descend from the rooftop, they are confronted with a startling sight. Heiss stands before them, grasping the severed head of the dragon. The onlookers are stunned as his gaze locks onto her. Angrily, he commands to know if Sasha despises him that much. With malice, he remarks that it's unfortunate things didn't go as planned and that he managed to survive. He retorts, proclaiming that he vanquished the dragon. Her eyes widen in shock, and she inquires what he is referring to. His anger reaches a boiling point, and he cautions her against pretending to be oblivious. His voice bitter, he recalls how he briefly thought she was truly supporting him. Now, with his body injured, he vows to rely only on his own strength to become the strongest adventurer. As he struggles to articulate further, his injuries overwhelm him, and he collapses to the floor, losing consciousness. Sasha rushes to his side, her voice filled with worry and concern as she calls out to him. 2 years later, Heiss walks into the lodging and casually informs the receptionist that he plans to extend his stay for another month. He settles his bill and casually requests breakfast, all while the receptionist hides behind a newspaper. Suddenly, the receptionist points Heiss's achievement as the prestigious S-rank status. He questions whether a fancier establishment would be more fitting for someone his elite status, but Heiss quickly shuts down that idea, explaining that he purposely chose this humble abode to keep people on their toes. As he casually glances at the newspaper, he realizes that the Silver Valkyrie has officially acknowledged his S-rank status, causing a frenzy of applications to their clan. With a smirk, Heiss makes his way to the Adventurers Guild to meet with the guild master. He asks the master what is his purpose, and he asks him if he has been credited with defeating a mithril ogre, an S-plus rank monster. He acknowledges this feat nonchalantly. When questioned about another monster, he smiles, implying that the master had taught him well. The master is taken aback, asking when he had ever provided such instruction. The monster ranking system reflects their strength, with F being the lowest and triple S being the highest. However, no triple S rank monster has been encountered, and the highest actual rank is double S rank. The master suggests that Heiss could have obtained superior materials if he had slain the monster more efficiently. He replies that this is impossible with his blessing. The master presents him with an envelope, inviting him to the S-rank adventurer's ceremony. He is surprised, mentioning that they had already held a ceremony at the guild. Geiss clarifies that this invitation is from the royal family. Heiss inquires about the royal family's motivation for hosting a ceremony for S-rank adventurers. The master, amused, reveals that the first king, founder of the adventure system, was the first S-rank adventurer. He explains that those who follow in his footsteps, including the royal family, are tasked with recognizing S-rank adventurers. During the ceremony, Heiss will be presented with an S-rank request, and by accepting it, he will officially be recognized as an S-rank adventurer. Heiss, noting his experience with S-plus rank missions, comments that it seems unnecessary. Geist mentions that Sasha will also be attending the ceremony. He inquires if forgiveness is beyond Heiss's capabilities, only to be met with a resolute denial. Geist, however, interjects with a clever observation, implying that her actions of repeatedly sidelining him from the team were actually done with his best interests in mind to shield him from harm. Heiss questions the Master, asking if her actions were genuinely motivated by kindness, given her harsh words. Heiss recalls her saying that he was a liability to the team and asks the Master if she truly meant those words. The Master confirms that she did. He acknowledges this but maintains that it does not change the fact that she expelled him from the team. He assures the Master that he is not opposed to her philosophy of abandoning the weak. He is convinced that they will ultimately emerge as the most formidable team. He informs Geist that he will press on, forging his own path to greatness. He's a lone wolf who trusts no one and scoffs at the idea of having allies. With that, he bids farewell, and the Guild Master can't help but chuckle, calling him a talented but inexperienced youngster. Months pass, and Sasha and Heiss are standing before the monarch, introducing themselves. The 13th ruler of the Hybel Kingdom, Barbaros, addresses them, stating that they are being formally tasked with a mission by the kingdom. He instructs Sasha to vanquish the crystal golems that have mysteriously appeared in the crystal mines to the south of the kingdom. Furthermore, he assigns First Prince Crest to join her in this endeavor. With a gracious smile, she accepts the challenge. A young girl, Mewin, steps forward, announcing that she will read out Heiss's assignment. His mission is to procure eternal moongrass at the sacred fountains of Gagazia, situated within the realm of the forest kingdom of Igdora, east of the Hybel Kingdom. This rare herb is essential for crafting spirit elixirs. First Princess Miwan is to accompany him on this quest. She is ecstatic as this marks her inaugural adventure. He responds by accepting the mission but firmly declining the princess's participation, citing concerns for her safety. This declaration astonishes all who are present. The king asks for his reasoning, and he explains that Gagazia is home to numerous ferocious creatures. While protecting the princess, he estimates the mission's success rate would be around 80%, not to mention the risk to her life. The princess interrupts, asking him to consider his team's strengths as well. He responds that he works alone. He reiterates to the king that he cannot allow the princess to accompany him and requests permission to undertake the mission solo. The king bursts into laughter, remarking that this is a first, a royal family member being deemed unfit to accompany an S-class adventurer. He notes that he's heard of Heiss's impressive achievements, including completing S-rank requests solo. The king makes an exception, permitting him to go alone. The princess, eager for her first adventure, protests. The king dismisses her concerns, advising her to abandon any thoughts of accompanying him. With the formal ceremony concluded, the evening transitions into a casual dinner party. The king turns to the Geist, chuckling, and remarks that the young adventurer is indeed exceptional. The guild master responds, surprised by the adventurer's bold statement. He apologizes to the king for the princess's disappointment. The king reassures him, saying not to worry. The princess approaches Sasha and implores her to let her join her team. Crest intervenes, cautioning her against being selfish. She retorts that this was supposed to be her inaugural adventure, and she's not willing to give up on it. As he watches the sacred ceremony, his brother points out that her behavior is disrupting the proceedings. Her actions are being a nuisance, and Sasha kindly offers to let her join her team, which delights her. This exchange catches Heiss's attention, and he thinks to himself that Princess Miwan is remarkably childish. As he gazes around at his former teammates, reminiscing about his time with them, he is interrupted by the Geist, who approaches Heiss with a chuckle. Geist confesses that he is surprised by his bold statement, admitting that he does not expect such fearlessness from him. This surprise is evident in the Geist's laughter and apology as he reaffirms his decision not to let her accompany him on his mission. The guildmaster's amusement is shared by the king, who finds his confidence entertaining. However, Geist also offers a word of caution, patting on the head and warning him not to let the praise go to his head. He reminds him that traveling alone means he will have no one to cover his back. Heiss acknowledges the warning and shares his plans with Geist San, explaining his strategy of continuing to take on requests while improving his skills. He also mentions struggling to decipher the ancient texts. As they wrap up their conversation, Heiss bids farewell, saying he will take his leave. Just as Sasha tries to catch Heiss for a private chat, he gives her the side eye, clearly not up for a heart-to-heart. Sasha insists that they need to talk, just the two of them, but Heiss is not buying it. He shuts down her attempt by claiming there's nothing left to discuss. But Sasha comes back swinging, expressing her desire to make things right. This catches Heiss off guard, who quickly goes from amused to angry. He demands to know why she's suddenly feeling remorseful. especially after ignoring all the chances she'd had in the past 2 years to apologize. He brings up the time he almost lost his life, a moment still fresh in his memory. Heist recounts how, instead of taking care of him when he collapsed, Sasha and the gang decided to go on a mission, leaving him feeling betrayed. He accuses her of never truly meaning to apologize, making her current apology feel empty and meaningless. With anger still etched on his face, he declares that her words are meaningless. Her expression crumples as she grasps the weight of his words, and she grasps his hand, apologizing profusely. Her voice trembling, she admits that fear consumed her and confesses, with deep regret, that she thought exiling him would be for his own good. As she expresses her remorse, he begins to sense the sincerity in her apology. She adds that she believed achieving their shared dream would make him understand her actions. Though her explanation doesn't erase the past, it's a start, and he begins to consider forgiveness. He confronts her, questioning the point of calling it their shared aspiration when she's the only one pursuing it. He asserts that their dream is in fact her own ambition and that she shouldn't use him as a justification. Sasha stands frozen, gazing at his retreating back with a sorrowful expression. As he strolls off, he boldly proclaims his quest to be the strongest all by himself. He cheekily points out that unlike her, he wouldn't ditch the weak. If it means cutting ties, he'd rather have been a lone wolf from the get-go. Raising his voice, he informs her that by abandoning him, she also abandoned the dream they once shared. He reminds her that her goal was to be the best team, so she should keep chasing that dream, even if he's not in the picture. And with a flair for the dramatic, he states that there's no going back to how things used to be. The rare eternal moongrass, perfect for crafting powerful potions, casts a gentle glow as it thrives solely on the sacred slopes of Mount Gagazia in the forest nation of Igdora. Sporting a prestigious SS plus rank coat crafted from the legendary Black Dragon's hide, our hero is as tough as they come. Armed with an adventurer's card for easy money management at the guild bank, a ring item box to keep belongings safe, and an ancient book with tantalizing secrets, he's a force to be reckoned with. As he struts into the adventure guild in his fancy gear, he's met with a slight inconvenience. The guild master is tied up with Sasha. Patience is a virtue as he waits for his turn, eyeing a daunting B-rank mission on the notice board that might require a little extra muscle. Just then, her girl approaches and stands beside him, prompting him to turn and face her. She asks what has caught his attention, but his response is that nothing has. Together, they continue to gaze at the notice board, and she wonders aloud if elves are really that rare. He affirms that they are, sharing a moment of quiet understanding as they stand there. He elaborates that elves rarely venture out of the forest nation of Igdora, making it reasonable to assume that visitors from that region are uncommon. She acknowledges his point, revealing that today marks her first visit to the area. He is taken aback by her admission, and she confirms her statement, explaining that she traveled westward and ended up in the central region. Prisia introduces herself as a B-rank adventurer and presents her identification card. Intrigued, Heiss inquires about her party affiliation, only to be told that she operates independently, confident in her ability to handle herself. This response strikes a chord as he recalls never having met anyone who shares his own sentiment. Her curiosity gets the better of her, and she asks about his own status. He produces his identification card, revealing himself to be an S-rank adventurer. Upon examining his card, she remarks that it's unusual for a solo adventurer to attain S-rank status. He responds nonchalantly, indicating that he's grown accustomed to receiving such comments. She inquires if he's currently undertaking a request, and he affirms that he is, mentioning that it's located in the forest nation of Igdora. She takes a step closer, her voice tinged with curiosity, and asks if he's indeed headed to Igdora. He responds with a hint of exasperation, his frustration evident as he apologizes and requests that she pretend she hasn't overheard the information. He adds that she could give him some space. She cautions him that discussing requests openly is not wise. Just then, the assistant interrupts, announcing that the guild master is now available to meet with him. He promptly heads towards Geis Sand's chambers, passing Sasha along the way. She attempts to engage him, asking if he's also there to inquire about the royal request. He deliberately ignores her, maintaining a stony silence. Her eyes widen in surprise at his sudden silence. He enters the master's chambers and takes a seat facing the guild master. Geis reveals that a formidable SF plus rank dragon is said to reside at the summit of Mount Gagazia. He adds that even the renowned Yggdrasil clan, one of the 4 great clans, exercises caution and avoids approaching the area. The clan, led by the renowned elven hero Adbis, is primarily made up of demi-humans. Clans like Yggdrasil are elite organizations formed by S-rank adventurers, consisting of multiple teams and operating independently of the guild, allowing members to accept requests and earn directly. The master hands him a sealed envelope, asking him to deliver it to the clan's leader, emphasizing its importance. Surprised, the adventurer asks if the master knows the leaders of the four great clans. Geist-sen smiles faintly, saying that after 40 years as an adventurer, it's only natural to know powerful figures. The adventurer nods, saying it's time for him to leave. The master bids him farewell, reminding him to stay safe on his journey. As he exits the royal capital, he becomes aware of someone tailing him. He equips his firearm, demanding to know who is lurking in the shadows. When met with silence, he fires a warning shot, loudly cautioning that his next bullet will not miss its mark. This bold move prompts a figure to emerge from the darkness, surrendering to his warning. As he lays eyes on her, he is taken aback, shocked by her sudden appearance. She acknowledges his surprise, stating that he has discovered her true identity. His curiosity is piqued, and he interrogates her about her motives for following him. She reveals that she has a favor to request, but he dismisses her, suggesting she bothers someone else instead. However, she insists that he's the only one she can turn to, and her determination sparks his interest. She explains that she wishes to accompany him to the sacred mountain of Exile, which raises his suspicions. What could she possibly want there? He wonders why she would want to embark on such a perilous journey and presses her for a reason. She reveals that she is searching for the eternal moon grass, a rare herb rumored to have extraordinary healing properties. The elusive plant is the only cure for her ailing sister, and while she has all the other ingredients, the eternal moon grass remains out of reach. With the monster mating season underway, entering the sacred mountain of Exile is nearly impossible without special permission. However, she points out that his involvement could change everything, as a request from the Hagot Kingdom would likely grant him access. Despite her reasoning, Hai stays cautious, keeping his firearm trained on her as he questions how she knows so much about him. She confesses that she had a hunch about his mission and as a result eavesdrop on his conversation with the guild master. With a sense of desperation, she reiterates her plea, emphasizing that she must save her sister, which is why she needs to accompany him to Exile. Her determination and urgency are palpable, but Heiss remains uncertain about trusting her. She proposes that she join in as a temporary teammate at least until they reach the sacred mountain, but if she falls along the way, he can simply leave her behind, and if she succeeds in obtaining the eternal moon grass, she'll reward him with all her wealth. After outlining her terms, she asks for his decision. Heiss responds indifferently, saying that her motivations are of no concern to him, making it clear that he doesn't mind if she chooses to follow him, but warns her that they are not partners and that she'll be on her own if things become perilous. She acknowledges his warning, confidently asserting that she can take care of herself. As he begins walking, she introduces herself as Prezi and addresses him by name, saying it's nice to meet him. They continue on their journey together, fighting off monsters along the way. As she catches sight of his weapon, she remarks that it's quite unusual and asks if it's a result of his blessing. He confirms with a nod that his unusual weapon comes from his blessing. She shares her own blessing, Spirit Command, which allows her to control invisible spirits for tasks like gathering information or camouflage. Realizing this is how she discovered his plans to head to Exile, he explains his blessing, Weapon Master, which lets him wield weapons from other worlds with perfect skill. When she asks about other worlds, he admits he's unsure but has mastered 4 weapons so far. To demonstrate, he hands her his gun, but it doesn't work for her as only he can wield it. He ends the conversation, suggesting it's time to set up camp. As Heiss cooks, Persia comments on the impressive quantity of supplies he has, marveling at the item box's capacity. He explains that he purchased the largest one available back in the capital. Her curiosity gets the better of her, and she asks what he's preparing. He offers her a portion of the meal, and she hesitates, pointing out that they're not even partners. He shrugs, saying he simply felt like sharing. As she takes a bite, her eyes widen in surprise at the exceptional flavor. She compliments him, saying he's quite skilled in the kitchen. He reveals that he used to handle all the cooking and household chores in the past. After finishing the meal, she expresses her gratitude and gazes at him intently. He asks what's on her mind, and she admits that she expected him to be colder and more distant. He wonders if she's trying to provoke him, but she assures him that she's genuinely thankful. She explains that following him has given her a chance to save her sister, and she offers to repay him by having the spirits keep watch overnight. As a token of appreciation for the meal, she tells him to rest well. He reflects on the situation, feeling a sense of nostalgia wash over him. The next day, they arrive at a breathtaking location, and she asks what it is. Gazing up at a colossal tree, he informs her that it's the base of the Yggdrasil clan. The majestic tree stood before them, a revered symbol of the clan. Her eyes sparkled with fascination as she added that it was also the seat of one of the 4 sages who led the great clans. According to legend, Clan Master Abyss Sama had harnessed their extraordinary powers to bring the tree into being. The 4 great clans are massive entities, each comparable to a nation. The clans include West Clan's fantastic fantasy entertainment hub, South Clan's Cavern King mining empire run by dwarves, North Clan's Seafury Holy Knights, exclusive to those with sword-related blessings, and the East Clan, Yggdrasil, where they are now. As they arrive at the forest nation of Igdora's main gate, the guard requests their documentation. He presents the necessary papers and explains that he has been summoned by the royal family, requiring access to Gagazia. He also mentions that she will be accompanying him. He whispers to her, expressing his confusion about her sudden inclusion. She whispers back, instructing him to go along with the situation for the time being. The guard issues then an entrance certificate, and he hands the guard a sealed envelope, noting that it is from an acquaintance of the clan master. The guard takes the envelope, stating that he needs to verify its contents. After a brief moment, the guard asks them to wait. An elderly gentleman approaches, introducing himself as a disciple of Big Eyestein, and apologizes for the delay. He grasps his arm, leading him away while explaining that the master has requested his presence. He reflects on how a simple delivery of the master's letter has escalated into such a complicated situation. Meanwhile, she informs him that she will wait for his return. He turns to her and she cautions him to exercise caution, reminding him that Abyss-sama wields considerable influence, surpassing even that of the Igdora royal family. The elderly gentleman guides him to an elevator, prompting him to wonder about the unusual presence of such modern technology in this world. The old man gestures upwards, indicating that the clan master of Yggdrasil awaits him at the top. He explains that this is their sacred sanctuary. As they reach their destination, he is about to meet the enigmatic clan master. As he enters the room, she greets him warmly, her eyes sparkling with amusement. He is taken aback by her appearance and inquires if she is indeed the clan master. She responds with a gentle smile, explaining that she has read the master's letter, which requests her assistance on his behalf. The letter also mentions that he is likely to refuse her help. Her smile broadens as she bursts into laughter, remarking that the master's assessment is remarkably accurate. She studies him intently, observing that there is something curiously familiar about him. With a playful glint in her eye, she teases him, saying that she can almost smell the scent of explosives emanating from him. Winking at him, she inquires if he is acquainted with firearms. She reveals that she once had a teammate who was skilled in the use of guns. He presents her with a book, asking if she recognizes it. As she takes the book, her expression becomes nostalgic, and she remarks that she thought it had long been lost. He presses her for more information, repeating his question. She confirms that she knows it well, explaining that it belonged to the legendary Nobunaga. It is his personal diary. His curiosity piqued, and he asks her to tell him more about him. She responds, acknowledging his inquiry, and proceeds to explain that he was an individual from a different realm who, through unknown circumstances, found himself transported to their world. As she opens the book, he inquires about the contents, asking if she is familiar with what is written within. She confesses that she is utterly perplexed, admitting that she cannot decipher the script from another world. Furthermore, she mentions that he never shared the book's secrets with her, nor did she have any knowledge of his firearms capabilities. She then turns to him, asking if he can interpret the text within the book. He affirms that he can, albeit with limited comprehension. As he begins to read, he remarks that he can now understand more of the content. She responds with a hint of disinterest, saying that it's not particularly captivating at the moment. With a glint in her eye, she asks him if he would be willing to share the book's secrets with her. Heist prefaces his response with a polite warning, asking her to take no offense. She then inquires if he is aware of something specific, her tone implying that there may be more to the book's contents than meets the eye. He delves into the book and discovers an entry that reads, Abyss-sama dropped by again today, as playful as a feline. She's absolutely adorable, and he must shower her with attention tonight as well. The writer ponders whether she would don cat ears and a tail if he gifted them to her, and the mere thought sends him into a fit of cuteness-induced motivation. He contemplates hunting cat-like creatures to craft the accessories, and his enthusiasm grows. He shares the passage with her, and she becomes flustered and embarrassed, her face glistening with sweat. He inquires about her relationship with the Nobunaga-san. Overwhelmed by embarrassment, Abyss-sama hastily grabs her shirt and declares that their meeting has concluded for the day. Heist promptly departs. As he exits her chambers, he takes a deep breath, marveling at the coincidence that allows him to decipher more pages. He muses that the book seems to possess a will of its own, guiding him toward unexpected revelations. Later, as they ascend the sacred mountain of Gagzia, Heist remarks that they are nearing the summit. Prisia notes that the fog is growing thicker due to their elevated position, rendering visibility nearly impossible. Suddenly, the earth gives way, and a monster emerges from the fog, attacking her. He swiftly intervenes, firing at the creature and dispatching it. As they stand victorious, he examines the monster's lifeless form and warns her to remain vigilant, explaining that this creature exploits the fog to its advantage. Prisia inquires about his motivations, asking why he would assist her despite their lack of affiliation. He responds by referencing her previous statement about wanting to rescue her sister. Since he has no obligation to save her, he turns to leave, remarking that he similarly has no reason to refuse to help her. He concludes by saying that's all there is to it, suggesting she considers it a gesture of gratitude for everything she's taught him along the way. She expresses her thanks for his timely rescue. Gazing upward, she points out a dragon soaring through the sky, speculating that it's likely on the hunt. Seizing the opportunity, she declares that now is the perfect time to procure the eternal moon grass. Before he can react, she takes off in a sprint, calling out that she'll return momentarily with the grass in hand and reward him accordingly. As Heist stands there, he thinks to himself that she's being reckless, grossly underestimating the dragon's formidable presence. He recalls that dragons are notoriously protective of their territory and will swiftly return to defend it against any intruders. Meanwhile, he observes the fog and the monster while she searches through the grass. Prisia murmurs to herself that there's nothing in sight, and she must hasten to find the moon grass before time runs out. As she frantically searches, her concern grows, and she exclaims that the eternal moon grass has vanished, leaving none behind. Defeated, she slumps to the ground, her face etched with despair. She laments that without the moon grass, she'll be unable to create the elixir and apologizes to her sister in her thoughts. Just then, a majestic green elephant dragon, a formidable SS+ ranked monster, emerges from behind her, its thunderous roar catching her off guard. As Prisia turns to face the beast, she finds herself trapped with no clear escape.
Here I am, know it's been a while.